Hello, everyone, and thank you for listening and watching my presentation on post-traumatic stress disorder, otherwise known as PTSD. It is a neurological-based behavior presentation, and I wanted to start off with a kind of a clear definition of what neurological-based behavior is, and it's defined as an erratic behavior that occurs when one's mental process do not function normally. They behave as they do because of the way that their brains work, and their brains cannot always control the behaviors in ways that serve them in the best way. PTSD is defined as a condition of persistent mental and emotional stress occurring as a result of an injury or a severe psychological shock. It typically involves just a disturbance of sleep, and it consists of vivid recall of the experience with which reduces responses to others and to the outside world. A description of PTSD, a little different than the definition, but it's post-traumatic stress disorder is an anxiety disorder that develops following frightening, stressful, or distressing life events. It's characterized by an intense fear, helplessness, and stress. PTSD affects normal life and functioning of the patient. Treatment includes medications and psychotherapy, either one or in combination. Typical behaviors of someone that's suffering from PTSD and people will come in contact with in the education field will be students, and they may act out in efforts to protect themselves, to get their needs met, or to feel safe or in control. Students may also be withheld or quiet in the classroom, and that can also negatively affect their learning experience. Some things that we might run across in the classroom or in the education field, and that's the classroom challenges. We might notice that children are being detached from other students. Those students might feel a lack of motivation. They might be acting out in anger and rage, and then some maybe even experience some memory loss and some struggles there in the classroom. Some things that we might not be able to see outside of the classroom, but will be affecting them in the classroom. Some students may be experiencing nightmares, some insomnia, some flashbacks of the situation, and then they'll try to avoid those remembering situations. And some of the things that I can attest to being through a traumatic experience myself is many times flashbacks may happen when there's nothing to do with that certain situation. But maybe a student is put into a learning situation that's very difficult for them, or they're going through a tough time in school, and that'll immediately make them think of that traumatic situation and hinder their ability to learn. And strategies for the treatment. So this is some ideas here for cognitive therapy administration within 2 to 6 months of the traumatic occurrence. This may not always be an option for our students. But research shows that having a 10-week individual sessions lasting up to 90 minutes in each of those sessions, an individual treatment with the child alone, and parent would only be joining if to be talking to a counselor or therapist for homework and tasks, things like that. So like I said, many students might not have access to this. There might be a stigma based on cultural beliefs that maybe the student doesn't need it. So some things that we can help with right there in the education environment, provide a familiar, calm, consistent environment for the student, create an atmosphere in which the child feels safe and to reenact or discuss the trauma, and not to push that, be kind of on their own means if they do want to communicate that with you. Be aware of the certain activities that may trigger the child's anxiety or regression into safeguard against them. If you suspect that the child is in danger of himself or herself or others, seek immediate help. And thank you for listening to my presentation. Here's some references here.